So Phil Spencer recently had an interview with Polygon.com in which he talked about Xbox's new multi-platform strategy, gave his view on what's going on in the gaming industry, and he also hinted at the future Xbox handheld. Before getting into these topics, I want to ask you guys for a favor. If you enjoy this kind of content and if you want me to keep making videos like this, I would greatly appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel. Also hit that like button for me and share the video out so it reaches more people. Again, your support is greatly appreciated. With that out of the way, let's get into the topics. I have an article here from Polygon.com. I'm not gonna read the entire thing, I'm just gonna focus on the most important points in my opinion in this article. So the title says Phil Spencer on what the hell is happening in the games industry and why exclusives have become a risky business. So right off the bat here we see that this article is focusing on exclusives, painting somewhat a negative picture, calling it a risky business. The math on making a game has definitely changed, said Phil Spencer, CEO of gaming at Microsoft. It can cost $300 million to build a video game. Spencer explained how this cost forces three substantial problems. One for all big budget games, one unique to console exclusives, and one that spans the entire industry. Point number one, the cost really reduces the risk that publishers are willing to take. Point number two, the cost is particularly prohibitive for exclusives that can only reach so many players. Quote, the case for exclusivity gets pressured as the cost of the game goes up, unquote. Point number three, according to Spencer, the console market has not grown in the past year. Quote, you can't succeed unless you draw in customers from other publishers and other platforms. And because you're not finding new customers with the games that you're building, everybody is kind of fighting over the same size pie, unquote. To give my opinion on what Phil said right here, I don't think he's wrong. Yes, the budgets are ballooning, and therefore publishers will take less risk when it comes to making new video games. We already have been seeing that with PlayStation, for example. PlayStation in 2024 is a lot different than what it used to be 20 years ago. Everyone is playing it safe nowadays, and you can't blame them. I mean, if you're putting in $300 million for making a video game, you wouldn't want to take risks, wouldn't you? That's why a lot of people are more interested in indie games these days. It's because that's where people usually find new exciting ideas, while most publishers are trying to copy each other. As for point number two, I don't think I agree with Phil, to be honest. Sure, high costs are particularly prohibitive for exclusives that can only reach so many players, but if your player base is big enough, I don't think that should be a problem. Look at the PS4 install base, for example, and how many millions of copies first-party titles like Marvel's Spider-Man and The Last of Us Part 2 have managed to sell during that generation. Of course, Phil Spencer knows this, but he also knows that Xbox is not gonna have such a wide player base to justify making exclusives, especially when Xbox has conditioned their users to not buy games, but instead subscribe to Game Pass. So I understand why he's saying what he's saying, but I obviously disagree. I do agree with point number three though, as I'm also convinced that console gaming hasn't grown much since the PS2 generation, which is a serious problem in my opinion. But I also believe that there is always room for improvements. If the gaming industry as a whole improves significantly, then I firmly believe that console sales in general will improve as well. I don't like the defeatist mentality though of we have reached a plateau and we can't grow any further. No, you can grow. Make a great console, release great games consistently with a decent variety, and then your console sales will improve. Polygon then asked Spencer if the ABK layoffs were part of this wider trend, or if there was something unique about the layoffs as they pertain to the current Xbox business. Quote, it's a little bit of both. We're a business, I've said over and over. I don't get any luxury of not having to run a profitable growing business inside of Microsoft, unquote. We're a business, yes. Thank you, Phil Spencer, for reminding a lot of people that Xbox is indeed a business. It's not a charity, guys. I might think that it's all about the player and the best deal in gaming and all that, but no. Never forget that this is a business. Xbox is not your friend, PlayStation is not your friend, Nintendo is not your friend. They're all businesses, companies doing their best to extract your money, which is fine, that's how it's supposed to be. I know you want my money. I'll give you my money, but only if you offer me a great product. That's how it's supposed to be. So just a quick innocent reminder here. Quote, for us as Xbox or any of the teams that are out there, it is really an outcome of an industry that's not growing, unquote. Nothing to say here. I think everyone can agree that layoffs happen due to a lack of growth and also to increase profit margins. Moving along here in the article, reading from Polygon.com, Spencer continually returned to the idea of exclusivity. I wonder why. This year, Xbox has ported 4 exclusives to other consoles, like Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 5. For Spencer, this is a way to bring more players and sales to old games. But it's also a way to break some old industry habits, like exclusivity, that may be responsible for the stagnation of the console market. Right, because exclusivity is what's ruining the console market right now. Alright, Phil, alright. Quote, consider 2 years of lack of growth in the games industry at the top line. You start to ask yourself, well, I don't want to grow at the expense of the industry. I want to grow as part of the industry. And what do we need to do as an industry to get back on the growth path? I will say, every decision we make today and tomorrow is for the better of Xbox. I know sometimes things get weaponized, that there is some evil in the background that's making us do things. Every decision we make is to make Xbox stronger in the long run. It doesn't mean everyone's going to agree with every decision we make, but it is fundamental for how we make decisions. For Xbox, our brand pivot as we attract and maintain relevance with the younger audience is Xbox is a place where I can find the great games I want to, unquote. Well, that was quite the read, and to sum it up for you guys, Phil is basically looking at the Xbox fanbase here, telling them, yeah, we're going to release more games on PlayStation and Nintendo, and sorry, we don't care if you like it or not. Everything else is just marketing BS. Unfortunately, not all Xbox fans are going to understand this, but that's the truth. Xbox will bring more of their games to rival consoles, not because they care about the state of the industry, but because they have no other choice. Making games costs a lot of money, and in order to recoup that money you need to sell a lot of copies, not the $10 per month Game Pass subscription, but actual $60 to $70 game sales. Xbox has been bleeding money for a long time now, and Game Pass hasn't really grown that much. I mean, PS Plus still has more subscribers than Game Pass, so Microsoft had to intervene and let Phil know, yeah, this isn't gonna work. We're spending billions on acquisitions, we need to start making money, and that's why we're going to see most Xbox games, if not all, on rival consoles, aka on PS5 and Nintendo Switch if possible. And now we have reached the final topic of this video. I'm gonna try to make it quick because I don't want this video to be too long, but basically Phil wants an Xbox handheld, and this handheld can be hardware, an application, or both. Reading from Polygon.com, Phil said that the Xbox hardware team, led by Rowan Sones, is considering different hardware form factors and things that they could go do, as it plans the future of Xbox hardware. What should we build that will find new players, that will allow people to play at times when they couldn't go play in the past? And then Spencer went on to describe 2 approaches to make an Xbox available on handhelds, the hardware versus the software approach, and he stated that he pretty much wants to have both, a dedicated Xbox handheld and an application that would be available on other handhelds. And let's say that lines up with Microsoft's recent gaming strategy. They want to be everywhere, and at the same time they want to offer you their own dedicated hardware. Not sure if this will work out for them in the hardware space, to be honest, as I think exclusivity is really important in this business, just like in any hardware business. I mean, if I can play your games on the handheld that I currently have, why would I go out there and buy your own handheld? But apart from that, I do like that Xbox is pursuing handhelds. I think it's smart of them to do so. There are a lot of people out there who prefer to game on a small handheld. I personally prefer the traditional console experience, however, and even if I do get a handheld at some point, either from Sony or Xbox, I'll probably use it when I'm traveling or something. So my time with it would be limited, but I can't deny that it's convenient, and the market is definitely there, and you can ask Nintendo about that. That's all I have for you today, guys. If you made it this far, thank you for sticking out with me till the end. Hit that subscribe button for me and hit that like button if you haven't already. Let me know in the comments what you think about all of what Phil said. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.